Hello people, boys and girls. We are into the geometry module, right? We have covered few of these panels, bits and pieces from these panels. This one we have covered transformation, basics, we have covered point and then circle, we drew the circle. We'll cover these one up. And as far as this one, I've already told you, you have edge, you have wire, you have face, and then when you combine faces to make shell, and then when you have closed shell, that's called solid, which is filled from inside, and then you have compound, which could be a mixture of anything. Okay, today we'll be discussing about the Boolean operations, right? So let's straight away make a solid, apply and close. So you have a box here, right? So I'm not able to rotate it. Why? Because I haven't toggled this one up. Okay, now it's fine. So now we have box, correct? And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick probably a sphere. That's fine. Apply and close. So these are two different entities, box and sphere, right? Now let's see, what do we have the first one as? First one is your fuse. Fuse meaning that now you have two different solids, two different entities. Whether you're gonna be using fuse, it's just gonna, as the name suggests, it's just gonna fuse them both together. Let's just use this one. Let's see what we get. But do have an eye on this little icon. Okay, so you have your sphere and you have your box, both are solids. So what do you get when you fuse them together? Let's select both of these, right? So you can select options using your control button. I've used. Okay, so we have a fuse now. So you see this is showing, so this is toggled on. So if I was to hide it, I don't have anything. So you have another spare, not spare, you have a basic body called box, the solid body, and then you had a different body called sphere, and then you have a fuse. So this is also a solid. Okay, so this is what you need to understand when you're looking at the tree, right? Now you have these two things fused together. Which is the next one? Next one is common. So the stuff which is common between these two, that's gonna be your new entity, right? Let's try and do it. So I'm just gonna toggle this off for a while. So now again you have box and you have a sphere. Let's try and operate it commonly. So with your control key you're selecting both of the objects, apply and close, right? So what do you have in common? So you have this in common between sphere and box, right? But that's not correct. This is not common between sphere and box. Basically, if you open this one up, you see for the common, you used sphere 1 and fuse 1. You didn't use box and sphere. Okay, so you have to be very careful in your selection. So let's do it again. Common, selecting objects. So you're gonna be selecting box and your sphere, right? And then you apply and close. That's fine. Now the common one was here between the fuse, so you might as well delete it. Okay, so when you see box and sphere, so this bit is the common, and in order to visualize that bit you just have to put it on. So that's your common. Now the next bit is your cut, right? So as the name suggests, it's gonna cut something out of the other. But over here you will have to decide which one is your main object and which is the tool object, right? So you're gonna be, for example, let's open this up, and now you have your main object. Let's take sphere out of whatever section of sphere is merging into the box or your cuboid or whatever you want to call it. So whatever section is merging, so you just want to take that out, right? So your main object is gonna be your box, right? And your tool object is gonna be your sphere, correct? Apply and close. See, so this sphere, wherever sphere was intersecting this box, that stuff has been taken off, right? So that's what your cut does. Okay, now the final thing is your, what is it called, intersection. Now when you talk about intersection of solids or shells or faces or whatever it is, you're not gonna get the same thing, right? So when you're just talking about the intersection of solids, so that intersection, that's just gonna be probably a face or edges or something like that. So it's just not gonna be solid. Okay, so like we are getting solid for the fuse, solid for the common, solid for the cut. You are not expecting solid to be here when you're using intersection. Let's see in it action. So you have object 1, which is your box 1. See, again, you have to be very careful. Object 1 over here, it's showing cut, but it's not, it shouldn't be cut, it should be box, right? Object 2 should be a sphere. One moment, and then it should be sphere, right? So you're not expecting intersection of sphere with a box to be a solid, right? So let's try and see what do we get. See what I mean? Let me zoom in. So let's see the little icon. Little icon shows you it's a compound, right? So that's the intersection which you're getting from your sphere and your box. So that's pretty much it about the Boolean operations. And just to let you know why Boolean operations are important, because if you're doing CFD, you're meant to be cutting stuff out of your main domain. So that was like, it's very important. So you must have a very clear understanding about how Boolean works. So that's pretty much it about the Boolean. So we have covered this panel as well. We'll look onto something else next time. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.